Lord. Okay, shine a little light on me. A culture. I was talking about a culture, and it went to like, people right here in the United States of America. The thing is that we can speak about United States of America. Matter of fact, I'm willing to travel throughout all the world. But whenever we're looking at, let's say, cultivating community, where are you going to be? Where's your station? So I have three stations. Okay, there's three stations where there is work. I mean, literally. But right now, okay, I mean, no, look, seriously. What I mean by sticking is that we actually get the funding to do the things that we need to do. Okay, somebody be like, okay, well, what is your success rate? How would you? So anyway, these people who were out there, before the police came and bulldozed their tents and their little properties and stuff like that. They were just out hanging out. Now there were some parts of the movie I was like, man, I missed it. It's not that I haven't seen it, but I was like, man, I should have. What was that? What was that? You know what I mean? But anyway, it's not just that movie. There's others. Okay, others. They. But the thing is that listening, I'm realizing, listening, okay, listening, and then we have, and then we had, I can see, and here it is. We've seen this before, Now what you doing? The census. These are the census. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. Um, Culture. Those people who were out there on the street were here in the United States in homelessness. They're home. Okay, so they want to be like, okay, well, listen, these people they're going through this, they're whatever the different recreational and hardcore drugs there are. Oh, there's tobacco. There was this. I don't want to say that. That isn't the right word, but there was uh, um an altercation. I don't want to say that, it's too loose too. But anyway, there was something that took place where now they want to place, here it is, this, that. And then, we went through, here it is, this the big old thing about Africanism. I'm not going to go there. It's a whole other conversation. But I'm just telling you something. So anyway, we went through all that and here it is. You see this pile of people. And the way that you can effectively do a lot of those different things is having a relationship. Now, if you're saying that people who, let's look at these people who were homeless or addicted. Is it a culture, people? I mean, sadly, it is a culture lifestyle, let's say, then another culture talk about, gang banging or something like that. You understand where I'm coming from? Like, it really literally is another culture. Okay? Because if you go and you live on the streets or something like that, then, there's a lifestyle or there's a certain way or pattern that you have to, uphold yourself. It's one thing to talk about shelter and be homeless. Okay, you got people who living in their homes and they cannot afford a lot of different stuff, like services and all that other kind of thing. I like this one. A lot of different services. I need to work on, here it is, whatever that is. Okay, so anyway, so now you're looking at a culture of whether those things are associated with job. I need employment. How else are we going to eat, my people? You know, go there a minute. Hold up. Job loss, family issues, that could be abuse. People sitting there trying to boycott you at your own stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, honey, I had a video talking about trust in the state. Why is it one and not the other? Okay. Um, the other thing is the other list of things that are there. You can talk about addictions, but people who are living a particular lifestyle, if they lost all those things and they find themselves to be homeless, and not every homeless person on the street are addicted, my people. Like I said, you got people inside of homes that are addicted. The point is that those people who want to help, let's just say their people, or here it is, that particular culture, then you want to identify, okay, well, listen, they do drugs and this, that, whole nother thing. Maybe they might take the drugs to go smoke it up. I don't know. I'm not in that category. You understand where I'm coming from? However, if we're going to have any conversation about what's going on in this world, I'm going to start right here in the United States to talk about here it is. There's a lot of work that we have in this backdrop to sit there and talk about homelessness. We can talk about here it is, the woo-woos and wah-wahs, police brutality, and all that other kind of stuff. A lot of stuff is going on over there. Now, if you want to sit there and talk about representatives, you understand, like, oh, well, here it is. It has a bottom where there's a lot of work. Then we trust her with a dollar. She go and spend a dollar on here it is, ports. Well, that's not what it is. Somebody else is trying to advocate. Listen, when you're doing some funding, they'll say there's some restrictions. Okay, so we're not buying a big bulk of dust. Okay, you can still do your job and function. Okay, now what about the drugs? Now, if they're watching you and you doing drugs, that's a whole nother thing. But yet here it is, a people who come from a tribe, or here it is, a culture. And you mean tell me that we're going through all the rigmarole to sit there and have the conversation about helping one another? And I'm like, well, you know what? Here it is. You want to come inside this union, and yet leisurely to be like, boop, boop. Okay, look, we're gonna put all this stuff in there, and look what you're doing, and we want African, and here it is, we want this and that, and this. It's not out of vain or spite. But then when we start to question why there's so many things going on, it's done deliberately. Not by your people, but it's done deliberately to sit there to talk about one thing. I'm like, this is a long bend. I mean, that shit, I mean, don't get me misunderstood. It's a long bend. Understand that being clock Europe. Understand that being rice. You know, the rice that we eat, like Uncle Ben's rice. This Ben is like for real. Now we can talk about that Ben, like we talk about a strand, but I'm thinking we need to identify what Ben is. Ben and Been, and then find all the other B's. Oh Lord, have mercy. Now, if we're like, I'm like, well, one moment, there's a whole many backdrop. That part is true. Now, don't get me misunderstood. These people who want to be like, okay, well, listen, we're overseers. I don't know if I really like here it is somebody else, but what can we say? What can we do? You know, we don't with this little African thing. Not like well, hold on, wait a minute. I haven't decided on what dress that is. Because here it is. We don't want to hear this some of your crop. And we're going with just they dwelling in it. Boy, and I'm telling you, this stuff is for real. Anyway, I know I'm kind of comic with all of this, but it's good to the point. Um, Originally on some paper, which I did not press that paper out to too many street meat company advocacy to be talking about homelessness. My advocacy at the time was about housing. And during that time of housing, it was actually the thought at that moment was dealing with the crisis that introduction or a newness with new other organizations that had established for emergency response. Okay. And then within that emergency response, it was like, okay, well, how are we going to actually care for people who become displaced? Okay. Now, the thing is the language on there has my experience of moving and going from one place, being dislocated, going here, going there. But then the language of that changed over a period of time to housing. Now, the conversation about housing, it becomes so broad, meaning that if we were to talk about it, it can go into many directions. And so I realized that the effort itself is within the organization, then we will have tapped into the state industry to talk about housing. Okay, there's a list of things that you can say in the work that was related to home, okay, as an organization. Because now looking at housing, now we would have been tapping into affordable housing. Then maybe those relationships would have been with the real estate commission, more of a personal gain than it was, let's say, for a public good. Okay, so now looking at the efforts, it really genuinely was focused now on goods and products, which that can tap into that. Now let's go back into look into this culture. Now we have seen different people around the world. People get education and they go there in good faith, doing good work not only with themselves, but then also trying to do a good work. And then you want to kind of ostracize them as if they're a negative person to say, okay, well, you know what? If they want to say, well, in employment, I don't know how that associated to what our government is doing to homeless people. Now look at that. Hold on. Because the thing is that people who want to take on a view and they know they hear this, you talking about employment. Now they want to talk about religion. Well, wouldn't that be like a religion? That particular culture? And you don't got no place to go, and you don't got no friends and family, you will find yourself right there. And people who, if you're going house to house, they want to ask you how you getting your money. So if this is a statistical, not a strategy or boy, that movie's for real. Okay, we could sit there and talk about all these other sci-fi movies, but I was like, wow, have poked and poked and poked. And I'm telling you, if you go like this for a period of time, you'll find that those things exist. So it's one thing to talk about family issues. There's another thing to talk about having employment. I want to put you in a category or a class about here it is employment. Here it is, and that's the extreme situation. It's extreme. Okay? And so when you start looking at organizing, you want to be with people who are able to make, well, it depends on what organization. I would just talk about, here it is, including organizations and colleges and universities. I thought myself personally that if me already, I acquired the education, and that those kind of people who are spirited and have the vim to want to do some things, and yes, they use their resources to make things happen for other people. You understand what I'm saying? Be at this particular location, and the reason why I'm at this location talking about the college is because I wanted to find more about what Irene Ratliff wanted to provide for my efforts, for my work. But if we have a group of people who they want to pursue further education, like go to the university, then is it sufficient? Well, it can be, depending on what is it that you're trying to convey and tell them. Some things you write, we got to teach other people to get us where we need to go. Okay, so this is misunderstood. I didn't exclude people who have experienced, let's say, a lifestyle such as extreme homelessness or chronic homelessness side, supporting that they need to start with people who do have education. We got people who have education, right? And then yet they don't have the work, or no one is going to look for them. Assume. Myself personally have brought information to different people inside of a homeless shelter. I said, I know what you mean. That part. Yeah. Okay. You want to work. Let's do it again. Do you want to work? Anyway, going back to this. So somebody is sitting there saying, okay, in which we've had people who come out of alcoholism and hardcore drugs, and if they smoking a cigarette, they're able to help their people. Okay, so let's get to this religion. The thing is that cleaning yourself. It's like, well, I'm already clean. You understand? Cleaning, and then maybe we'll help you. So now they're fibbing. Even got little pictorials where they want to show you one side and the other side. But then on this side, they want to talk about police brutality and then talk about a space of being saved. Okay? And I'm like, well, one moment, this seems right here it is the other option of the little hoodlum being, let's say, a police officer. People had got into it, whether they were protesting. See, we have to understand with those mass incarcerations, it wasn't just gangs or at that time that and it's just been a continued ban. It's been a continuous ban. Okay, I think that Ben is also a bridge. I think there's a Ben like a bridge too. Ben, and find Ben. Shit. Because they go to Ben that shit. I'm telling you, they. Find Ben. Shit. That part. But anyway, this took place in the 70s. And then it was just a lingering aftermath of here it is, these people trying to conquer people and get them for real where they are not able to vote or be incarcerated all by itself, being in the pen. I said, find Ben. Ben. Been. To be or not to be. That will be the question. And that take over here. Take over here. So anyway, with the religion, they're like, oh, well, look, here it is. These religious folks, them done come to help you. And I'm like, well, you know what? State will be, let's say, government. And then church will be religion. But we need to add another one in there. That'll be corporation. Both of them are tied to the state. Okay? So you have religion, state, corporation. Okay? Now, with this, the people that got incarcerated, then, the people who was in the inside wanted to talk to them about religion and to tell them about their culture. Then when they come back out to society, whether they were helping them through their process, it was a process, okay? I'm not going there. Do you understand what I'm saying? It was a process. Now, we can sit there and talk about all the different religions, but through that process, after they were incarcerated, they went inside the pen, and then outside the pen, they had been sanctified into a religion. They come back out, and whatever job or work or however they thought process about their experience have changed. They start calling out and praising out here. There's these different people and all that kind of thing. I mean, that's all fine and dandy. I'm not disputing that. The issue, though, that I have with that, talking about church, state, corporation, is that you mean to tell me, and that mean is three. Mean, like median and mode. And mean has a high, low, and a medium. That these people, that you're with this group of people. So anyway, what it was is that there was a rosary that was involved. I don't know if people are familiar with rosaries, but it's common in the church. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're talking about one church or the other. A lot of them they have rosaries. Okay, I don't have my rosary right here in front of me. I don't have it right now, but I'm just gonna use something. I'll use this band. Okay, so anyway, you have the rosary, and then what you do is like this. If you go with the rosary, it could be longer, okay? You see some people, they have it and they go like this, and with the rosary, okay? And they're, and whatever, okay? And they're using their thumbs and they're, counting, or they're praying, or they're chanting, and this, that, and the other, blase, blase. So anyway, this person, he went into a little rosary, and I was like, well, what is this? So they wanted to sit there and tell me about some M. And I ain't talking about 13. So anyway, we get into this little thing, and I'm like, well, what is all this? I mean, this number, he was like, what? He dropped to the ground, and they want to sit there and tell me about polygamy, and this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 and this culture. Want to sit there and tell me about this, that, and the other. I said, what? Okay, so as if our breakthrough is going to come through here. There's a whole bunch of people who have a miscommunication about M. Or here it is, we talk about they. This is, and then, and honey, they're on the wrong side, at this side, and here it is, the knockers. We'll have another conversation about that. And I'm like, well, one moment, here it is, my work in itself, and we're applying, state, church, corporation, whatever. And you mean tell me, and that mean, I told you went someplace else, right? So let me get off of the mean. That they want the people to be like, okay, well, we will help you. Listen to me now. We will help you if you just do these things. I guess the request is no different than me saying we need business plans. We want to talk to people about business and this, that, and the other to say, okay, well, listen, these people that fell in this religious drop. And this is the way you're going to be helped. And your individual liberties is not there. Your individual liberties are not there. And yet here it is. You want to talk about your funding, like you big dog, and you big dog. And then you get some services. And here it is. We're going to pray. And this, that, and the other. Baphomet. Anyway, we're going to go here. And I'm telling you, I don't like that either. Because, honey, you got me misunderstood when we're celebrating the moon today. Okay, we landed on the moon. And shit, we got close to the sun. That up and that down. We ain't gonna go. That's a whole nother conversation. Like I said, it's comical, okay? Anyway, and we're gonna talk about outlet or an exit, which I call success exits. Go to school. Go to that building. You understand? There's a lot of things that you can establish about your own self, your interpersonal development. Oh, well, where are you going to be all at home? No, go get a job. Me too. I'm looking for one. Go find work. Me too. I'm applying. Go build your interpersonal intellect and your being and be around other people. We're colored. Yes. Go, go, go. I'll be the first. If you don't have nothing to do, go to school. There's institutions that are out there, that institution. Okay? Oh, we hear there's people that went in and out of jail. And some people say, oh, it seemed like it was a retreat. I don't know about all of that. But if somebody wants to identify any one of them, whether you want to talk about church or you want to talk about going into the state and other, I would say, yes, we're going to go to church and state and corporation. Go to school. Go get an education. Okay, I'm looking for people who, myself personally, who's able to help make the world turn. For somebody else to be like, oh, it's these people and these people. Oh, here it is. And this is not no earthquake or nothing. Oh, we was fixing that part. And then all the other kind of stuff. I'm like, wow, man, I ain't gonna fib you. What the hell I get over here to this little sex, drugs, and rock and roll? Not that part. So anyway, going back to this thing. So listening to all of that, I'm like, those people are homeless on the street because they're waiting for them to go and get in jail to be redeemed, to come back into society, to say that somebody else can save them through a religion. I'm not sitting there disputing or saying that the church is not going out there providing, or it's the state providing. See, now the state, the assumption is with the state is that housing, and the church can provide housing. Okay, the corporation can. Matter of fact, that's the question. They do start homes for people who are going to be working, but how are we actually tapping into the corporation money to say we need to get our homeless people off the street with all the different services that are offered inside the state, and then to talk about a church. So anyway, you already know what the state church is doing, okay? State and church, but you want those people to go through a process. I don't want to just be pointing them as them people, but you understand what I'm saying. Okay, go through a process to talk about religion to in order for you to say that you want to help them. So you have people who probably doing a whole bunch of other stuff, and whether they call them responsible or not, but then it's not in a mass movement because now somebody else want to accuse them of being addicted or being crazy for them. Oh well, no, they have mental problems. I don't know. We can't help them like that. Oh well, no. Here it is. They have the housing. We can't. They can't get any housing. They got to go jump right back in and here just paying this high ass rent. Oh well, here it is. They were with their people. Don't they know how to get along? And so we could talk about every other group, but for people of color, it's just looking like for real though, y'all. We need to identify beyond the voodoo because it's voodoo that went someplace else. Culturally speaking, there's a misunderstanding about that. It is a religion. Really, it's not really a religion, it's a practice. Well, all of it is a practice. All of it could be a way of life. But you'll find that inside the book. You'll find it inside the book. Read all that stuff about the little chickens and the sacrifice. All that's in the Old Testament. I'm not going there, my people. I think that maybe perhaps we don't have an understanding. I was like, honey, those people sitting there doing all the meat and all that kind of thing, honey, you'd be surprised what that mean to us today. We ain't going there. That's a whole nother something else. But through that process, the people they come, and I think that you know what, somewhere in there, there's a realism. It's like, yes, we want to be healthy. Yes. We want to eat good. We want to dress good, right? Right now, the question about even looking at human rights groups to talk about water. Some of those people don't have water and all the other kind of stuff. But then somewhere in there, us being here in the United States and those with the same services that are going around the world, they want to say that they don't want to help the people because they're addicted. I was reading some cases, and the cases were explaining how they were addicting the people who got incarcerated. Then I had the conversation about them wanting to give kids medicine. Okay, I think it was like not energy medicine, but to kind of slow them down, and they were in elementary. So you don't want to help the people because they're addicted, but you want to addict them while they're incarcerated. And then lo and behold, we don't know what they're doing inside the military if we got people who coming out of the military and to talk about veterans, and then the veterans are not cared for. And if you want to sit there and talk about addiction, or maybe they were already out and then over a period of time they have identified them as being veterans and then they're addicted, then that means that we need to have programs that want to help people with addiction. I know. We've seen that movie called New Jack City, right? And in that movie, they had the building. It was four square. It was four square. You walk in, no different than how we may see some of these other structures, like building within the building. But you have the building, and then inside the building, like a motel. Okay, now maybe something like that needs to take place. Give the people housing, shelter, right? Put them all inside of there. And then all the little programs that we can think of why these people are free, they can offer it in there and then go through that little process to say and explain to them about addiction, about religion, and about the services the state has to offer, opposed to them just laying up on the street. Now, I'm going to let you know right now that that would probably be the largest advocation about homelessness if that would be the reason why the state and then why the state don't want to give them the money, even though there's all kind of funding. Talk about addiction now. Don't get it twisted. We got those American Green Crosses coming up. And that whole conversation about opioids, my people, I mean, some of this marijuana got different names. It's no longer stress. It ain't sticky icky. It's some other big stuff. Meaning that here it is, that whole process. It could be dipped. I mean, they sitting there giving you cream. They doing all kinds of stuff outside of cream. They saying they have these properties and this, and sprinkling in your food and this, that, and the other. Boy, my girlfriend was like, "Oh, listen, I got me some marijuana butter." I was like, "I don't know about all of that, boo." Nickel. I mean, here, look, here. I got some splits right now. No, literally. When I get some. So now the people who are in religion, oh no, I used to live this life. I don't want to help nobody. They got to get straight. They got to get redeemed. Oh, they can't be smoking no dope. Oh, they can't be doing no marijuana. They can't be drinking and all that kind of thing. And so the thought is that when I come to your house, then I'll be one thing. But we got people on the street. And yet here it is, the state want to use this process through the religion to sit there and talk about how they want to help. It's been a little cycle, y'all. It's a cycle. Those multitude or thousands of people who are homeless on the street, and yet they want to be like they need to go through a process. And then some of those places, those churches, we got a lot of them, and some of them have property. But this is the thing about the organization of a church. They got members, my people. And through their membership, don't you think that they need to care for their members? And then the members inside the church are going out providing a service, a friendly service to, let's say, the masses of people who are out there in the street. Oh, well, listen, they know where we are. They can come to us. And I mean, I don't know. The argument may be they're right. So who's responsible? The state. Why? Because they have approved so much. Matter of fact, I was like, well, all these little green crosses going up, and they had a little opioid conversation. That somewhere near the federal system, as including the state system, there needs to be a responsibility in any of these organizations, including the municipal government, county, state, if corporations want to develop in their country, or their state or whatever, they need to ask for housing money so that that money can be funding people places to stay that they know have issues that are relative to one thing or the other. No, seriously. Okay, a culture, man, people, a culture. So this little process, now the people, oh, okay. Now don't get me misunderstood. If you don't drink no more, if you don't smoke no more, you don't have sex no more. I mean, looking at the addictive things, you don't want to spend your money no more, no clothing. You don't like to go out and eat fast food no more. I mean, we understand. I had a burger, and a burger is not fast food, a sandwich, because it comes with bread, you got meat patty, and you got lettuce and onions, vegetables, and you got condiments. It's not junk food. It's not junk food. But don't. Shh. And I don't think that here it is them naming that bag energy to talk about peanuts and seeds and raisins is junk food either. I'm not gonna argue with you. Anyway, that's another complaint about they. We're gonna call them they because that's what they've been wanting to be called. They. So this process. Okay, let's get back to this process. So now the people got to go through a little religion. Then they want to talk about them being redeemed, and then them being redeemed. Then they want to say, well, they saved again. And we went through all of that, and yet here it is. They're a person that was with them. I understand where you're going to take the money. You're going to go put it on. No, we're not doing that. So you can watch them all day. You got some people who ain't doing nothing, and that's not no TV. if you no problem, that's good, baby. You know what I mean? Being sanctified don't have to go through all of that. Do you think? Oh, well, here it is. Some of these group of people will help you if you don't do this. And then I'm looking over there. I'm looking over there. And then yet we all try and find a building to make some money to help. Here it is, our woos woos and wah-wahs, and then all that community support, and then all that security, and here there's all that democracy and diplomacy. I'm gonna ask you one more time. What the F you mean? Oh, that's right. That mean it went three. Do you think that maybe perhaps the people want to know who care for them? I mean, this is a long thought about here that's waiting on employment or somebody to understand one thing or the other to say, like, hey, this is the way we could do it. Now you start talking about autonomy, like I said, that's good as calling a fictitious name or a business name. Because when you think about a business, they want to have their own little secret sauce. Okay, and hey, I think that's as good as it gets, honey. If it's on social media and you got all that information, okay, this is what this means. This is what this means. Then I guess when I start talking, you know all about it. But why you got to know all the dango details? Them people at the one someplace else, but you know what I mean. Hello. 678-334-3409. And you can email me, IRATLIFT@gmail.com. And for some odd reason, here it is, that thing, that little messenger ain't working, but I'm not going to go there, okay? Yes, we want to be redeemed and sanctified, but you know what? Some people, do they care about you? They're going right back into the little family issues because, honey, we all saw what they were doing. Here it is. No, not here, not here, not there. I said, Lord have mercy, these people in my little yard. And the things that you think you were sharing with your family, honey, they were sitting there trying to figure out how they talk about how they wanted to be there with them. This stuff is not making any sense. You can tell me about all the little color and all the other kind of thing, and yet here it is, that advocation. And I'm not saying that we don't got people out there doing their part, but then yet readily, I'm gonna let you know right now, there would be no reason why we would assume that we should not help the people because they're addicted. And if you have somebody who is straight and knowledgeable, then why are you trying to make them like got them crazy, make them crazy, and want them to be like they on the addicted team, and then you want to watch them, and then you want to put pressure on them, Lord have mercy, and then you want to sit there and be like, okay, well they can't help the people, and then yet here it is now the people not being helped, and then they talk about been doing what you been doing, and then the people ain't going over there, and then yet they didn't have no insight or no will anymore, I mean, to go about doing it, helping the people outside of a sandwich. Ain't that some shit? It's all out of the public now. Shit, big old sandwich bag. Okay, what they say, food, clothing, and shelter. And I am including employment. Do you want to work? Let's do it again. Do you want to work?